welcome to another episode of Shooting
the Shit with Rachel
and Neal Young. We're talking all things real estate photography business growth, mindset, and getting it done. Here come your favorite true entrepreneurs, Rachel and Neal Young, shooting the shit.
I have a ferret on the podcast. Like if we're kind of in a slump, like what kind of things do you do?
Talking about a boob light.
Straddling a power line.
Nice photo.
Ooh, I need that.
I'm like red right now because I'm embarrassed. I go like this. I love it.
Come in.
Sure, use your podcast voice.
You know, over here, I'm pitting out.
Drone's like flipping to the ground.
That's a great callback.
Chit-chatting.
Is that what you call that?
Hey!
Hey!
Rach, who do you love?
HD Photo Hub.
Today's episode is brought to you by HD Photo Hub.
The platform real estate photographers trust.
And so do we, because Rach and I both use it on a daily basis. Check it out. Check it out.
Okay, should we get to it? So the podcast is about testimonials, which are so important. Okay, so what
are they?
What are testimonials? Testimonials are a validity of your competence as a business. So
Ooh,
think about it
fancy.
as like a 5-star review from an Amazon purchase. You purchase a product. They ask you to review it. You review it because you loved it or you hated it. And you give them 5 stars and a raving review, or 1 star and you say it's terrible, right? That's a testimonial. So it's basically just somebody telling how their service was, how their experience was with you.
And
now,
it's something you should be getting from your clients. Because
yes.
I don't know if you're like me, when I shop on Amazon, one of the first things I look at is how many people purchase this, like the stars, like 4 stars, and it's like 2,000 people. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty confident. And then if I'm still on the fence about this kind of product, I'll read a couple of those. Same thing if I'm downloading an app, I'll read a couple of those first reviews just to see, are they really any good? You know, so
that's a very good point. Yeah.
They work.
I always just go to like the 1 and 2 star reviews and read those. And I'm like, okay, if there's like a common thread, like missing parts or broke after 1 week, and there's 5 that say that, I'm like, I'm not buying that because I can't ship back a cabinet. Like I'll just be stuck with it. Like my Murphy bed back here, the door doesn't close. They don't line up properly. And it's impossible to close the door. So now it just is stuck open. It's annoying. But it's like, I'm not going to send that back to Amazon. I paid like a lot of money for it, but now it's just whatever. I'm sure Abel could fix it. I need to write that. Casey, write that down and put that on our to-do list for Abel. No, we don't have that. We should. Casey's my assistant, in case you were wondering. Okay. So back to the podcast. So why we get these reviews is to show credibility as a business owner and to verify that you do good work. So just like what Neal was saying, right? When you buy something on Amazon, you're going to go check it out and see. So your clients are doing the same thing. Your new clients who are shopping around for a new photographer, they're looking at your reviews to make sure that you do good work. So it's great to have these listed, a few of these on your website. It's nice to have them like you can add them to your newsletter. You can put them on social media. Obviously, your Google My Business page is where you would collect these, and your rating would be on there as well on a Google search.
Yeah, and they can be written. They can be a written testimony. Or if you do video production, these could also be, recorded testimonies that you could maybe ask some of your clients if they wouldn't mind being on camera because you're doing a little ad or you just need it for a little part of your website. You have some kind of video content on there because a video testimony is really strong. There's no, because sometimes you feel like, oh, who wrote this? Is this the photographer that wrote this? How do I know they didn't make that up? But when you see somebody talking, it's even more credible.
Well, and you can feel the genuine nature behind what they're saying. You can feel the emotion of what they're saying when they're saying it, when you watch them. And it's like true proof that that's like you're saying, right? Or a testimonial. Anyone could write a testimonial and put it on their website. It doesn't have to be, anyone could make it up. But a video, you can't really fake that. Well, actually, you could now with AI, but you won't do that because we're good people. Yeah. There's many ways that you can collect and what they can be, but how do you get them? Like the ways that you can ask your clients, because it can feel a little awkward to ask for a review, right? I've had a few brokers who have asked me for a review, like, oh, can you go on and do a Google review for me? And I'm like, sure. Like, I've never bought a house from you. I just work for you as a vendor, but you've been a pleasure to work with. Your
Hmm.
houses are always prepped. You're, taking the time to make sure all the landscaping's done. The house is always staged. So that's my review for them, right? I'm like, this is what I see as a real estate photographer. I see thousands of homes and work for hundreds of brokers, and this broker is top notch. They really do go above and beyond for their clients
Yeah.
because they stage it. Da, da. Anyways, yeah. So, I mean, people ask you, so why not ask them, right? Just ask your
Hmm.
clients, say, hey, I'm really trying to work on my SEO and my Google ranking. Would you mind giving me a review after your
Right.
service if you're happy with it? And people are like excited to do that for you. Most people are like, oh, of course, not a problem.
Yeah,
Um,
and you can throw in too, like, hey, do you, are you do what's your business on Google? Because I'd be happy to throw up a review for you guys too, and sometimes that's helpful as well.
Yeah, and that's just more incentive for them to do it for you. You do it for me, I'll do it for you. Scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So you can email them a link, you can text them the link to your reviews. There's also an
Mhm.
automation in HD Photo Hub. Do you want to talk about that, Neil?
Yeah, yeah. So, and we're talking about Google My Business. So you want to make sure that you've set up first of all your business on Google, and you have to do a simple verify process, which isn't very complicated. There's all information on how to do that online, but you have to verify your business, then you get approved, and then people can write reviews, and you basically get a link, and you could send that link, like Rachel's saying, you could email that to people, hey, would you mind giving me a review? And do it manually, or text them that link and it'll bring them directly to where they can put that review right on Google. But HT Photo Hub has also got some automation for this, which I love and set it up recently. We've already got several reviews since I turned it on from clients, and I didn't have to do anything but set it up. It's in the same way that HT Photo Hub will do a like text or email reminder that you've got a shoot coming up. You can set it up to do this request of a review, and it'll send an email a certain period of time after your shoot. And so basically, like a day, I think I set it up for a day or two later. I didn't want it to be too long so that they forgot, but I didn't want to be too quick so that they didn't have time to like reflect. So I think I did the following day, and they get an email that says, "Hey, how was your experience?" And if you give a review, follow this link, and they go and give your review. It's super easy, and once you set it up, you don't have to do anything, and you can turn it off for an individual client if you want to as well. And so it's really cool.
It's amazing. We got almost 40 reviews in the last like 5 months from
Mm,
that automation. So it's amazing. We're over 100 now, which is so
yeah.
cool.
And
Um,
that is helping your website with that kind of with those reviews as well for SEO and all that, right?
Yeah, so SEO is search engine optimization. So it's basically your ranking on Google. So are you going to show up on the first page when they type Seattle real estate photographer or New Hampshire real estate photographer, whatever? And
Hmm.
so the more reviews you have, the better Google likes that and they will boost you up on the list. So one easy way to get SEO credit is by getting reviews. We've talked about how to get them. You can, when you're at a shoot, if you have a client who's good on camera, who's already maybe doing video marketing or something, or maybe you're filming an agent intro for them, this is a great opportunity. They're already mic'd up, they're already ready, they look good, they are like prepped to be on camera. Like
Yeah.
ask them, hey, would you mind doing a video testimonial for me that I could use on social media or put it in my newsletter? Or whatever I end up doing with it. Would you mind? And most of them will be like, oh, sure, not a problem. So that is a really, really valuable tool to have to add to social media to just show that you do good work. I did that with one of my clients and he, bless his heart, he goes, Focus Media Collective is the best there is. I was like, that's it? Like, okay. Can you maybe expand a little bit more on that? He was like, oh, sure. And I'm like, I don't want to tell him what to say, but I'm like, can you explain that you've been working with us for however long, like 5 years now? And so
Yeah.
he did. He did a good job, but it was one of those where I was like, oh no, we're gonna have to do this more. I can't accept that. That's not good enough.
Yeah.
That was cute.
We did a testimonial video one time for when I worked for a software company, and the guy's quote was, "The company's so good, I don't even want to know about the competition." Which was always a hilarious quote.
That's awesome.
Like, that's it? Well,
Yeah.
okay, that just kind of sounds like you're not investigating anything else. So it's not really a good boost for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's funny.
But
Another
anyway.
thing, if you ever have an event or host a client appreciation party, that's a good opportunity to collect testimonials too from your clients.
Yeah.
You've already brought them there, gave them something good to eat and drink, I'm sure, and some swag. So I'm sure they would be happy to give you a testimonial.
Yeah. And I've set up a testimonial booth like that before. I will say that I wish I had a better scenario for audio. It can be tricky at an event. So do make sure that maybe can set it up in the hallway outside of the room, or, something else where you've got a way to separate from a lot of that noise, because a lot of the audio that we got, unfortunately, there was like cackling, laughing happening, and it's like, ooh, I don't know if we can use it. But even if that happens, you can still transcribe those quotes to text, and you can still place them on your website. There's still testimonials, so you still get stuff out of it. And I do the same thing with a lot of times, like I have one just from the other day. An agent texts me like, your photos were amazing. The house is actually already under contract and it's over asking, and it's total credit to the beautiful work you did. That I will screenshot those and I will save them to a folder testimony, so that if ever I need a couple testimonies for whatever, I can pull any of those, retype them on social media as a post. I could use the screenshot if I wanted to, if it's kind of solidifies that it looks real. It's kind of a cool effect too. Or you can retype them, and just say who it was or whatever makes sense. But and a lot of companies will say that having 3 like testimonial quotes on a page on their website is a good way to go, to validate your services as well, even if it's just written text. So
Totally. Yeah. And if you are brand new and you don't have a lot of clients, be sure you're asking your first people that you shoot for. Just make sure you're on it right away, because getting those reviews, especially when you're new, will definitely help you get more clients. So,
yeah,
yeah.
totally.
So a couple places, once you have these reviews, what can you do with them? We've kind of already touched on this, but you can use them in your newsletter,
Yep.
on your website, of course. Neal just said that. You can also list in some of the text within your website, say, we have helped hundreds of clients over the past 7 years, and we have over 100 5-star reviews to prove it. That's one of the lines on my website. So it's using those reviews as kind of like social proof and validity that you are legit, like you have done good work in the past years and you're good to work with. And then social media is huge. Such a good place to use testimonials. So you can post these to your newsfeed. You can post them in your stories. Neal and I were talking about this earlier, and he was like, yeah, every time that I see a broker post a testimonial, I just kind of swipe past it. I'm like, meh. And I'm like, yeah, but think about the text message ones that you get that are a conversation. Like, it's kind of fun to see someone else's text message conversation, because you feel like you're like sneaking in, and you can
a little
see, you're
behind
like,
the
ooh,
scenes.
kind of the juicy gossip. I don't know. There's something in our brains where
What
we're like,
else did they say right before that?
yeah. Like, this is an A and B conversation, and you can see your way out. And like, I'm C. Like, I want to see.
I want to see. I want to
Yeah,
see it.
yeah.
Well, one
So,
thing I was saying too about that is, I also a lot of the times too, the text, when they add that picture of it, the text is so small that I'm like not even going to read it because it's so small. So one thing you could do is you could just also add the audio where you just read the testimonial,
oh, there you go.
even though it's written too. So I think that adds some dimension. But I liked what you were saying before when we talked about this too. You also mentioned just livening it up with like adding some, like emoji things and little things to just make it more eye grabbing as well can be helpful too.
I just had the most creative, amazing idea.
Oh, me too. You go first.
What if it's the same?
Oh, that would be amazing.
I know. Okay. Imagine this reel. It's like a
Mm,
30-second reel. It's
yes.
B-roll of you and your team shooting and all the cool things you do, all this behind the scenes, right? And of course, we'd use Matt's B-roll because Matt's an amazing videographer and makes us look like badasses. And then you would do a voiceover of testimonials
Yes.
while the B-roll's playing. Like,
Yeah.
working with Focus Media Collective has been a joy. Michelle Blinkens.
Yeah.
I don't
B-roll
know.
and testimonial audio. That's great. I
Yeah.
like that.
What
And
was
you
your
could
idea?
just change your voice like, they're so great.
You know, in CapCut, how you can
It's
use like the
lovely.
different audio voices to text,
Yeah.
like voice text to voice. It's like, Rachel, what's a pleasure to work with the robot voice.
That might not
That's
be
so
as
creative.
believable, but
Yeah. We
yeah.
could use like a British girl and anyways,
Mm,
could be fun. And then do captions and then a little
yeah.
like hyphen with their name at the end. I don't know. Could be a
Well, so
cool way.
my idea was something totally different. So
Okay.
are you,
Yay.
I just had this idea. So Rachel and I were talking about before some branding stuff, and maybe we'll talk about branding on another episode. But this is a branding idea. If you are of the kind of company where you have a t-shirt, a lot of companies have a t-shirt with their logo on the front. You could throw a couple quotes on the back of your shirt. When you're walking around a house working and you've got quotes on your shirt, that's
Mm,
kind of cool. I'd kind of like
yeah.
that. That'd be
I
kind
like
of
that.
neat. You know,
Yeah.
you're out front of a house taking shots, boom, boom, and you got these cool quotes, or you're just walking around town. Not only you got your logo, but they're the best real estate photographers in town is in a quote. And like, you never know who might see that and be like, huh, I want to know more. I
Right.
don't know,
I like
just
it.
an idea.
Yeah.
Or, do it on your underwear. Whatever you like.
That would work too. Whatever you want. Yeah.
Less people hopefully will see that one, but that's up to you too, I suppose.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So another way to get social proof. Social proof is basically just like other people posting about your business
Hmm.
or posting your work to their social media pages to show that you actually are doing work. You're doing what you say you're doing. You're providing the services that you say you provide. So let's say on social media, I have Judy, who's one of my clients, and she posts a carousel with 5 pictures of the house that I shot. I can now share this post to my story, push the little airplane icon, right? Share that one picture to my story and write some text over the top like this beautiful home just went live, and then share the next photo in the carousel to my story. And that slide's going to say, presented by Judy with Compass or whatever. And then the next slide, you share the next photo in the carousel and write something else. Like, this house was an absolute stunner. I had such a great time shooting it. Like, call out something about it that isn't obvious to your audience, right? Like, this is located, it's in a coveted location right next to, top schools or whatever, top rated schools in the country, something, or just minutes away from the Amazon campus or Microsoft or wherever you're located, something cool that they can't tell from just the photo. And that is going to just show when it posts to your story, it's going to show that it was from someone else's page. So they'll know it wasn't you posting your own photos. And then by you adding text over it and adding your client's name. A lot of times, if you put their name on there, you hit the @ sign at Judy, it'll pull up her handle and you can add that onto your story. And then she will get a notification in her DMs that you posted a story, and she has the option to add that same story to her story post. So a lot of times those clients will repost it to their story because it's free content. It's done for them. And if
Mhm.
there's something on it of value to them to advertise to their sphere, they'll want to post it to their story more likely. So, and a lot of times they give you a shout out and they're like, "Oh, thank you, Focused Media Collective, for the great photos," and now their whole sphere and all those realtors just saw the photos that I took. Judy's calling me out, giving me a testimonial. I mean, it's easy, guys. It's genius. You just have to play the game. You got
That
to
is
get in
amazing.
there. You got to start tagging
Yeah.
your clients. You got to start participating, and the referral machine will just start cranking. So
Right.
it's
Right.
amazing.
If they're posting your work and other agents see it, and it's also a simple thing too, is just going in and commenting on that post because maybe they didn't tag you in it, right? But you can still comment and then you say something like, "Yeah, it came out so great. Always a pleasure working with you." Or whatever, you don't have to be as direct like that, but find a way that somebody reads the comments, they know, oh, that's the photographer then, right?
Yeah.
And so now they know who they use for the photographer. Because a lot of times agents are wondering who do they use for their photography because they don't have a great photographer. So they'll look at whoever they aspire to be like, and if because that's how I get a lot of my clients is a lot of my great clients have other agents that aspire to be like them, and they just outright have to ask them and eventually get the guts to go, who's your photographer? So, but they can kind of do their investigating and find out if you're commenting on their post too. So yeah, that's a great testimony.
Yes. And then also, if you are sharing someone else's post, maybe they posted a reel that you
Mhm.
created and you want to share that to your story, you can share it and then tag them. You can write a little text over it, like I said, something that's not so obvious about the property, and then add any kind of stickers in that are going to kind of like emphasize how great the house is. Like shooting stars or like fireworks, or if you have a GIF of yourself, you can now take a video of yourself, load it into Instagram, and you can make a sticker and it will cut you out. It's like a GIF, basically like the little dancing person. You could be like celebrating, like woohoo, you know, or clapping or whatever, and put that over that reel, and it's going to just draw more eyes and more attention to it. People are going to be more likely to stay on it longer and actually watch it versus like just swiping past it if there's more to look at. Because honestly, just a reel of a house is, I mean, it's great, but it's a little more exciting to look at if it's got some fun stickers on it and some text that explains a little bit more about it, I think. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not
I like
as
that.
generic. We've started
Yeah.
scrolling past the generic shots of houses because unless you're shopping for a house, you're
Right.
not as interested. Yeah.
Which, let's be honest, most people that follow brokers or us on Instagram, I mean, the amount of time in their lifespan that they're actually shopping for a house is very short. So
Right.
what are these brokers putting out there to entertain their audience and to keep them engaged longer, right? They shouldn't just be posting houses. They should be
No.
posting a lot of community stuff, involvement, like events, like things that they're actually doing that are bringing value. If they love to cook, give us some recipes. Let's see what you're making. Let's see what you're eating, right? There's a lot more valuable stuff. And that goes for us too. Like brokers
That's
don't
what I was
always
gonna
have a
say.
listing. So, you know, they are always kind of in that mindset of getting the next listing, but there are big gaps between. So make sure your content is educating them and you're adding value as much as
Yeah.
possible to keep them engaged and wanting to follow you.
Yeah, because they're gonna get bored of the pictures of the fireplace too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neil, I feel like we need to do a series on social media.
Well, I think we probably will, Rach.
Well, look at that. We've got our next topics. Guys, stay
Good, good,
tuned
good.
for the next amazing episodes where we will be talking all things social media, branding. I don't know what else. We'll figure it out.
We're gonna
But
find out.
we're going to find out. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Awesome.
Neil, do you have anything else to add? Or are you good?
Mm-mm.
Got it?
Enjoy your day or evening, whichever you're at in this time, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.